Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to the architecture tour of Deus Ex Mankind Divided. We are in the Palisade Bank. The Palisade Bank, remember that giant rectangle of concrete in Prague? So now we're inside. We're inside the front door, right? So the front door is back there. We went through the door and now we're in the lobby of the bank. So, first of all, you might notice right away that it doesn't look like a normal bank. There's no bank teller. There's no, like, lines. There's no customers. Well, I mean, there wouldn't be any customers anyway, because I knocked everybody out and hit their bodies. So we can walk through the architecture without being disturbed. But this is not that kind of bank. This is a property bank, is what they call it. This is a bank that is for very wealthy, exclusive customers, and service is by appointment only. So if you don't have a lot of money, then you don't come to this bank. You go to a different bank, right? Okay, so what do we say about the architecture of this bank? First things first. Oh, there's a lot of shiny black surfaces. Oh, look at that. Black and gray and rectangles and light. So just like back in Adam Jensen's apartment, if you remember that, this is a very inefficient way to light a space, to have like dark surfaces and then bright lights. You get glare, the black surface absorbs the light, it doesn't reflect anything, so it's just not efficient. But that's the point, I think. I think the point is to be inefficient. The point is to like show off how much money you can waste on these lights. It's to show off how rich they are, it's not to be efficient, right? And okay, alright, I get it, you're rich, you have more money than you know what to do with, and so you just throw it away, trying to light up a dark space with black surfaces. Alright, rich people things. Everything is very square. And that kind of makes sense, because, you know, squares evoke a sense of like stability and order, which is suitable for a bank, because the bank wants to come across as being stable and secure, and so a lot of solid, heavy squares is, I guess, something that a bank would do, right? You don't have a lot of funny circles and triangles in banks usually, because like you're not there for fun, you're there for security, right? So you want secure, stable shapes, which rectangles are. Likewise, we have a lot of heavy concrete, right? So heavy concrete, oh, very solid, very heavy, very serious and secure, or at least that's how you're meant to feel. There's bits of dead wood. There's bits of dead wood worked into the heavy concrete furniture, which is interesting. I'm not sure what that's supposed to say. I mean, it seems to suggest that the disorderly nature has been constrained by these concrete squares, or maybe even we strangled these trees to death. There's something kind of oppressive and morbid about this, like, oh, we squeezed the trees so hard they died. Maybe? So the trees, they're definitely not alive anymore, and they have been forced into compliance, I guess. I guess that's what it means. That's how it feels to me, anyway. Okay, so this is the lobby. And ordinary people don't get past the lobby, but we are not ordinary. So here's the sign. We're on 2nd floor. Level 2 is the lobby, right? Level 1 we have executive safes, and then level 3 we have offices, which are restricted. Interesting. So this is the lobby, the whole level apparently. Stepping in, past the front door, we have an atrium space right away. So this connects all 3 floors, except there's this wavy sculpture thing above, so you can't really see above, but you can see below. So there's 3 floors, and then there's like a big empty atrium in the middle. The sculpture is interesting, I guess. I'm not sure that it means anything. It's kind of this slow, rhythmic motion. Very calm, I guess. Serene. You'll notice that the way it works is there's a bunch of wires up there, and I guess there's like motors driving the wires, pulling these things up and down, which works. But with so many individual motors, what happens with a machine like this, so complex, is that it's gonna break down. With any complex moving thing like this, you expect the motors to break down every once in a while, because there's so many of them. And even every so often one will break and you have to fix the thing. So this sort of sculpture, the way that it moves, and there's so many moving parts, it's gonna be high maintenance. Which I guess if you're rich, you don't mind the high maintenance. You just pay someone full-time to fix the thing all the time. In real life though, just be cautious about having a lot of moving parts in your building, because it's often very high maintenance, especially if it's on the outside. This is on the inside, so I guess it's okay. If it's on the outside, it's exposed to wind and rain and grime and rubbish and everything else. It's high maintenance. Sometimes people like try to put wind turbines in their buildings, and they go, oh, we have a green eco building that generates its own power with wind turbines. The problem is the wind turbines, they're moving parts. They're moving. If you have like a lot of turbines, there are a lot of moving parts, and they're gonna break down, right? So they're high maintenance. They're not as much fun as you might think. Solar panels are fine because they're solid state, right? They don't move. You just have to clean them, and then they're fine. Wind turbines actually move. So things like that, you need to be careful with stuff like that. Anything that like had a lot of moving parts is prone to breaking, and so you just have to be aware that if you have one of those things, you need a lot of maintenance. And this thing probably requires a lot of maintenance. Just, you know, if you ever think of putting this in your building, just keep that in mind. Okay, so around the atrium, we have offices, and they're the same architectural styling, right? So we still have the same shiny floors, a lot of black, shiny surfaces, a lot of black, and then a bright light up there, and a lot of glass, and a lot of black, so it's the same. And then concrete walls, a little bit of color, but not too much. Mostly it's just dark and black. Yeah, I don't know if you really want to work in a place like this. Doesn't it get that depressing after a while? It makes a powerful first impression, like a very serious and dark building. But you know, like if you work here every day, I think it might get to you. It might affect you psychologically. Like you might actually get depression. You know, if you design a building wrong, you can give people depression. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's, you know, it's not often that you get a building that bad, but sometimes you do. It actually like traumatizes people if your building is bad enough. So anyway, like a lot of black, I don't know, it's just like a little too much. If you imagine like you have a big building and like a small part of the building is like this, and like, okay, the entrance is like this, you make a first impression. That kind of makes sense, but the fact that the whole building is like this, and like the workspaces are also like this, it's a bit much, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to live in a place like this. You don't want to have to deal with this every day. Like, it's just too dark. It's too dark and too much glare and too high contrast. It's too intense. That's how I feel. Maybe you're the kind of person who is always intense all the time and you're fine with this. I think most people are not like that though, you know what I mean? Okay. So all the offices are more or less the same. Like there's a bunch of dead trees. Like the trees are dead. It's like... it's so depressing, isn't it? Anyway. Okay, keep moving. The offices are more or less the same, all of them. We have back here an elevator. We won't take the elevator, there are stairs. Here we have an executive boardroom. It's kind of small, isn't it? A small board table.
Tell me, what do you feel the human
Same styling. And then we get to the back here. Oh, here we go. So that's an atrium, and this is another atrium. there's a second atrium next to the first atrium. So this goes up 2 floors, right? So there's an upper floor, that lower floor. And we have more of this rectangular concrete stuff. And I honestly don't know what that means. I don't think it means anything. It's just like a bunch of rectangular shapes, right? What's it supposed to do? How's it supposed to make you feel? Dead trees and rectangular bits of concrete? It honestly feels like an alien tomb, right? It's lifeless and dead and heavy and somber. That's how it makes me feel. It's not particularly nice, to be honest. Like, I'm okay with it, but it's not something that I would... I don't know. I mean, it's a bank, I guess. You know, there's a certain kind of corporate culture that wants to be like really somber, unnecessarily serious. This is kind of unnecessarily serious, I feel like. I don't know, it's a bank. Maybe it needs to be serious. But you can't have a little bit of color, you know what I mean? You can't have like one color. I'm just thinking about the banks that I usually go to. They have color schemes, like the bank that I go to. They're like black and yellow. It's not just black, right? So there's like... So okay, here there's like gray. But imagine just like one color. Like the banks in my country, there's like one is like a red color scheme, one's like green color scheme, one is yellow. They all have their own color scheme, but they have like one color and then black. So they're serious, but there's a little bit of highlight. You know what I mean? This is a little bit much. Okay, so next up, we're going downstairs. Downstairs, if you remember, is the executive safes. We have executive services, safes A and B. The staircase is super wide and extravagant. So a wide staircase, I say that because the staircase takes a lot of space, right? Staircases, even if you try to make them efficient, they're gonna take up a lot of space. Now this one, there's a lot of horizontal movement, so that takes up even more space. For no reason. It's just there to be impressive, I guess. And then you get to this floor, and there's like a big empty hall. Right, so there's like more sculptures, there's a water feature, and then there's like sculptures there, a seating area, and all of this is just a nothing space. This doesn't function as anything, it's just a big open hall that looks cool and serves no function. And it's not... It's there to impress, like the function is to impress you. I don't know if you're impressed by this, but you know, like the function of a big empty space is to make you feel like, oh wow, there's a big empty space. That's the function. Whether or not you think that's good, I'll leave that to you, right? So here we have executive services. Basically, it's just offices. We have an office. So I guess this is the guy who manages the safes. And then here on each side, we have one on that side, one on that side. This is like the secure vault. I can close the door, I think. Let me just close that real quick. Oh, can we see inside? Oh, I can kind of see inside. So the... Oh, there's lasers on as well. So the safes kind of disappear into the ground, and then you open it up. Wait. Oh, I turned it on. Oh wait, no, it turns off again. Okay, there you go. So they raise and lower into the ground, and then there's like security lasers and everything. And inside the vault, look at that! Oh, shiny ceiling sculptures with recessed lighting. Like that is even fancier than this. Isn't that crazy? So the shiniest, fanciest part of the bank is inside the safe. And then we have like this textured stone all around, and then we have like lighting in the floor, lighting under the walls. Look at this place. This is the fanciest part of the bank. And that's weird because this is the secure vault. Well, not the secure vault, there's another vault. The secure safes. So, in theory, This should be the most secure part of the bank. But it's also usually the part of the bank that gets the fewest visitors, because like only the people who access the safes would come here. So there's a limited number of clients who actually come in here. And they don't come here very often. They only come here when they need to put something in the safe or take something out. Right? Usually they just leave it in storage. It's a storage room, right? It's like a warehouse, but secure. So it's like it's a storage warehouse that's really highly decorated with like a lot of lights, a lot of shiny stone. It's a little odd that they spend so much on this. Like it's... Do you understand what I mean? It's basically a warehouse, but it's very shiny. And it's not shiny in a way that makes you feel like it's secure. It's shiny in a way that makes you feel like it's rich and luxurious. Right? It's an interesting choice. They don't put this at the front door. They put it in the least seen part of the building. Curious, right? So there's like servers. I guess they also store data in here. And then back here, there's like a secret switch, and then there's a security room back here. So there's a security guard on duty at all times as well. Yeah, no, the vault. For some reason, the vault is the prettiest part of the bank. And it's the same on the other side, right? Yeah, same on the other side. Oh, that side's more yellow, this side is more blue. They have a different color scheme, interesting. Right, same thing. I guess what I'm trying to say is, this shows you what they prioritize. They prioritize the wealthy clients who come down into the safes, right? So this big open space down here, only the clients get to come down here, right? The clients, like other people don't get past the front door. The clients come down here and they access their safes. So it's like a big open, really richly decorated place to serve the clients. But it's a very exclusive clients, a set of clients. It's not like a lot of people. It's a lot of ornamentation spent for very few people, is what I'm saying. Okay, upstairs is the offices, level 3. Back here we have less shiny, but still fairly shiny, and a lot of concrete. And I guess it's still more or less the same styling, right? Yeah, it is. Executive boardroom, another one.
Despite an almost astronomical number of
Not too
attempts,
big. What does that say actually? Our values. Client privacy, secure data management, quality of service, secure online service, vault safety. Points to improve security breach. Automated defenses training, vault access, device maintenance. So yeah, vault, clients. I don't know, do you think the architecture reflects their values?
deadly infectious diseases are at the center of some disturbing health news right now. The most significant
Well, we can think about that. So up here we have their toilets. Not much to say, except that it is fancy. Slightly different materials though. Less shiny. I guess you don't want mirror surfaces in your toilets because it's privacy issues, right? I imagine it's like your ceilings are like mirrors and you can kind of see people inside the the toilet. So you don't want too many mirrors inside the toilet, that makes sense. Alright, we have male toilets over here, same thing. And then again, around the atrium we have some offices. This is the IT services apparently. The room itself is pretty much the same. The furniture is different. This one's got some workbenches. It's all still just black. The color is black. We'll go there next. So over here we have a bit of a staff kitchen and rest area over here. So the kitchen, there's a little bit of yellow. Look at that. Like this wall back here is a little bit yellow, a little bit warm. Everything else is this blue, this cold blue light, right? So it's like very harsh, very cold. There's a little bit of warmth in the break room. Just a little bit. And then over here we have security. Security is more stone, less shiny and more stone. Or more concrete, I guess. I mean, I think you're supposed to feel more secure in here. I don't know if it actually is secure. I don't know how thick the concrete is. And isn't the other stuff also concrete underneath the metal? Anyway, it feels more solid. And the security room does overlook the atrium, so they can keep an eye on things. So that's good. Right? And then over here at the rear left, we have the CEO and the CTO offices back here. Chief Technology Officer, right? So the executive and technology. Ah, look at that. Very tall ceilings. Tall ceilings, but the styling is still the same. More concrete, in fact. Maybe less metal, more concrete. Still the same black stone. Similar color scheme. There's a waiting area, and then this is the secretary. And then around the back, we go up the stairs. And then there's another waiting area. And then there's the actual offices of the CEO and the CTO. And somehow this is disappointing, right? Somehow the chief executive's office is very boring. Look at that, there's nothing here. There's no personality here. It's just two desks. And that's it. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like there's nothing here. It's not, it's less richly decorated than the safes area. And there's no personality, there's no personalization at all. And there's no colors still. Even the CEO lives like this. It's interesting, it's so interesting. They spend money on the clients, they spend the money on the areas where they keep the clients' secure safes. They don't spend the money in the CEO office. I mean, I guess you can't complain about that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, that's dedication. That is dedication to customer service. I don't know if it's good just to like spend a lot of money in the safes area, but they are dedicated. Right. There's a little secret room back here. Not that it does anything, it's just like another space. Okay. So that's the 3 floors of the Palisade Bank. Before we go much further, what should we say about this? Again, the styling is the same through the entire building. And that's a little bit strange. It's like the architecture doesn't tell a story. The architecture says one thing, but it says the same thing throughout the whole building. Like from the entrance all the way into the innermost office, it's still the same thing. It doesn't, like the story doesn't change. It doesn't progress. There's not like, oh, the lower workers and then the middle management and then the CEO. Like there's none of that differentiation. There's no, oh, this is the public face and this is the private. There's none of that, so there's no development in the narrative, right? If we consider the architecture, we're looking at, you know, environmental storytelling. We're looking at the architecture maybe telling us a story. Here, there's no story. It's just like one statement, and that's the whole building. So in that sense, the architecture is a little bit shallow, right? If you see what I'm saying, it doesn't really tell any elaborate story. It's just it's a one-liner, and it applies that to the whole thing. And I don't even know what the one-liner is, right? Like, I don't even know what that is. Or why there are dead trees, or why there are concrete rectangles. Like, it looks solid, it looks sturdy, it looks like a tomb. But why is it like that? Why did they choose this? We don't know. We don't know. So, yeah. It's very shiny, but it doesn't say very much, right? It's like something... like a guy who wears a really fancy suit, but he doesn't have anything to say. Like, you talk to him and he just doesn't have anything to say. He wears expensive clothes, but he's not very charismatic. He wears expensive clothes, but he has no personality. That's what it feels like. You know what I mean, right? Like, okay, so there's another part of the bank. Back here, down this elevator, we have the corporate vault. Let's get down there. And the elevator ride is quite long. We go down quite a while into the corporate vaults. A long elevator ride, deep underground. And you might think, oh, deep underground, I guess it's very secure. It's buried deep, but the buried treasure is secure. Right? So you think. So you think. Alright. Coming out the elevator, we have one corridor, and again, it's the same styling. It's the same styling still. Right? It's still... The story still hasn't developed, it's still saying the same thing. And then here we have security. So we have one path, which is good. Like, you don't want a lot of multiple paths because then it's difficult to do security. If there's only one path, there's only one line of attack that you need to pay attention to. There's only one way that people can try to sneak in. And then we have like a security gate across that path. Let's go up there, right? So we have a side door. This goes up to the security offices. So this is interesting. I think this is like the first time we see like service stuff that's not... I mean, there's service spaces above. I didn't go in there. Like, you can kind of crawl through the vents behind the elevators, but you have to crawl, right? You're not supposed to go in there. I guess you're not supposed to come in here as well, but the security staff would come in here on a regular basis. So here we have a room. I guess this is the break room for the security. And they have their own toilet. The ceiling is open. That's curious. You can see the cables. And then security, they watch people there coming in, and they watch people going through into the vault. Here we have security officers. I guess they are all staring at their screens. I guess they're monitoring all the cameras and motion detectors and everything else, right? Very cool, very security, very technology. They have computers. They have a locker. This is odd. It's odd because you would think the locker space would be where the break room is. Right, you would like take a break or like get dressed and then come to work. You wouldn't get dressed in the actual workspace. That would be distracting. So I'm not sure why that's there. But there is like a vent here. You can kind of sneak around. I think this might be put here for gameplay reasons. Security Supervisor Office. So this is the guy in charge. Interesting, the guy in charge is completely closed off. He has no windows. He can't see anything going on outside. Like, he's secure in his own space, but that's not his job is not to be secure himself. His job is to secure everything else, right? I would expect there to be a window there, and then he would constantly be able to see people walking past. That would make more sense to me. Oh wait, what's that window? Oh, that's just this window. Like, imagine if there was like another window there, and the security chief can see what's going on. That would make more sense to me, to be honest. Alright, so this is like the security gate. It's cool how they built it like a fortress, right? There's like one path going in, and then there's like a security gate across the path. Through the gates, we have this little area. So this hallway is filled with security, or it would have been, but I destroyed all of it. This would have been, there'd be like lasers and robots, these robots, and then there'd be like turrets and everything, cameras. So this hall is filled with security. The columns is a little strange because they obstruct visibility, right? It would make more sense if the columns were not there, and so the cameras would just see the whole space with nothing in between. Because here you could just like try and dodge the cameras maybe. But this is for gameplay reasons. If the security was perfect, then there's no video game. The video game is to break into the vault. If you can't break into the vault, then there's no game. So they deliberately make it so that you can break into the vault. And that requires security vulnerabilities. But yeah, so in an actual space that you want to secure, you wouldn't have columns like this, blocking visibility. Like, you wouldn't have places for people to hide. Anyway, through the vault. Oh, it's also red. Why is it red? Why is it red? No reason? There's no reason for it to be red. It's red because red looks scary. That's all it is. It's the aesthetics of danger. Is it actually dangerous? The red light doesn't make it dangerous, but it makes it feel dangerous. Okay. So when you point it out, it's a little silly, like, really, the aesthetics of security? But you know, sometimes if your building looks secure and it deters people from trying to break in, that's just as good as stopping people from breaking in. Like, you know, a psychological barrier, if it works, it works, right? Like, if the psychological barrier works, then you don't need a physical barrier. You see what I mean? If it works, it works. It doesn't matter how it works. Whether it's like real security or it's implied security. But if you scare people enough that they don't try to break in, then it works. So in a sense, you know, like, making something look secure is smart. Even if it, like, whether or not it actually is secure is a separate question. Anyway, the red light is funny because it doesn't actually change the security or anything. It doesn't make the space more secure. It just makes the place look more intimidating. Okay, the actual vaults. Once we get past that gauntlet of security, we step up into the space. Oh, it's that interesting. You step down there into the pit, and then you step back out of the pit into the light. Oh, look how much light there is! It's crazy. So again, so this is the innermost vault, right? And again, like the corporate safes or are they corporate safes? No, this is the corporate vault. The executive safes, just like the safes upstairs, the fanciest part of the building is the innermost, most secure part of the building, where the fewest people can access. And they access it very seldomly because it's just a vault. They put stuff in there and they leave it in there and they don't touch it. So it's a place that few people go to, and the people who do go there don't go there very often. And that's the part of the building that they spend the most money making look impressive. They don't care what any of you people think. They only care about what their most wealthy clients think. That's the only people they care about, is the clients who pay the most money. They don't care about your opinion. Your opinion, they just give you like a giant concrete block. That's how much they care about you. It's just like the outside of the bank is just blank concrete. They don't care. Everything's turned inwards. All the rich architecture is turned inwards into the innermost spaces. That's this bank, right? And again, you might think, well, that makes sense. That's the kind of bank they are. They serve a rich, exclusive clients, and they don't care about ordinary people. Like that's who they are. And you're like, okay, I guess it fits. I mean, I don't agree with that philosophy, but I guess it fits. Okay. And there's like seating. Do you really just like come down here and chill? You don't just come down here and chill. Why is there seating? And there's like columns, there's nothing behind the columns or anything, it's just the decorative columns. The decorative columns, fancy sculpture, fancy light sculptures, and seating. Yeah. Yeah, I mean... Okay, so if you put your keycard there... An elevator brings your vault down to you. Oh, isn't that fancy? So your actual vault is stored somewhere up there, and to access it, you can only access one vault at a time, only if you have the key. Then the machine brings you your vault, so you can't get to anyone else's vault. And this is the VersaLife vault. Inside the vault, it's bright lights and plastic, apparently. So the inside of the vault is just like a high-tech room with a lot of lights. Okay. And there's your vault. And so the appearance of it is, oh, I mean, that's pretty secure. Like, it's very exclusive. You come down here, it's high security, very few people come down here. And then when you access the vault, it's only your vault. Oh, it's very exclusive, very private, very secure. Is it very secure? Is it very secure? Is it? Does this elevator system add to the security of the vault? Does it? Anyway, we can come back here. Oh, look at that stuff. Are those all vaults? I think... well, I fell down. I think those are all meant to be other vaults. So there's a lot of things back there. I'm not sure if they really are vaults though. Oh yeah, look, there's logos. Hold on, let me just pull my sniper rifle out. Haiyang Medical, Tavo Security, Soloto, Maiden's Pacific. So those are all different synergies. Synergies? Is it synergesis? No, synergies. What does that say? So those are all different logos of different corporations. So these are all corporate votes. SNN? Interesting. What the hell is that? That's the shoe shop. The shoe shop has a vote? No way. They just ran out of logos. Ishanti? Yeah. So those are all the votes back there, apparently. Let's climb back up. Press the button. Why can't we get back here? So the thing is, if you can break through into there, it's not actually that secure. The fact that all the vaults are stored in the same place means that this elevator system doesn't make the vault any more secure. It feels exclusive because the machine brings your vault to you, so it feels like, oh, this is exclusive service. But actually, if you manage to break inside, all the vaults are just in the same place, and you can just break into all of them. So it doesn't increase security at all. It makes it feel exclusive. But like, imagine the alternative. The alternative is you have like a tunnel And then the tunnel, there's like doors on the tunnel, and then each door is a vault. You walk down the tunnel and you get to your vault. Instead of, you know, the machine bringing your vault to you, the vault doesn't move, you walk to your vault. Is that less secure? It's not less secure, it's the same amount of security as this. So the whole elevator thing, it's complete theatrics. There's no improved security from having this elevator system. Because if somebody can break back here, which what we just did, we just climbed the elevator and now we're back here. And now we can access other people's vaults. So if we come here, who's this? I need to get back around the other side. Alright, so around the other side. So here we have Picus. So this is the Picus vault? Is that right? Right. So that's the Picus vault, and then we can like climb the ladder. And back there, we have the Pavel's security vault. So once you get back here, like the vaults are not secure at all, right? So the whole elevator thing, it's just theatrics. It doesn't actually improve the security in any way. And remember that we were underground, and the vaults are stored above the vault access. So the vaults themselves are not stored deep underground. The vaults themselves are actually higher up, closer to the surface, right? So to get to the vaults are like, so the surface of the ground, the vaults are like right there, and to get to the vault you have to come down, take the elevator down here, down underneath the vaults, and then they bring the vaults down to you, and then they move the vaults back up, and then you go back and take the elevator up. You see how redundant that is? The vaults, they're closer to the surface than the vault access. So you're going underground, and then they bring it down to you, but why don't you just access it up here? So they keep it up here, so it's not that secure. Like if you think, well, if it's deeper underground, then it's more secure. But the vaults are not kept deep underground. They're kept up here. You go down, and then the vault goes down. So it's not actually deep underground, the vaults. They only bring it deep underground to bring it to you, but they only do that because you go deep underground. So it's not actually more secure? It's not actually deeper underground? It's all theatrics, it's all fake, it's not real? Right, if we climb up, where are we? Here? Oh, we're here. So that is actually the surface of the ground. We're only like a little bit underground. Vault shaft access. This is the vault shaft. Right, you go back through the access. Interesting. And then we have like ventilation ducts. And then you just climb through the ducts. There's even a convenient ladder in the ventilation ducts. And you just climb out. Right, just climb out into a car park. The Palisade car park. It's right there. And then you come out, and there's the bank. There's the bank. The vaults are just slightly underneath the car park. You just walk in the car park, climb into the vents, and that's your vaults. It's not secure at all. So the whole thing is theatrics. And that's the Palisade Bank, right? It's very silly. It's very silly. So all the fancy black stone, all the like the elevator, and then the security gauntlets, and then the big shiny room, and then the elevator thing, all of that is for show. Because if you want to access your vault, you just come down here, go down one floor, and there's your vault. Instead of going the long way. Yeah, no, this is the Palisade Bank. That's the joke, you guys. That's the joke. That's the punchline. It's not actually secure. Ah, yeah. So it's not a normal bank. But even if it were a normal bank, I would suggest you not putting your money here, right? No, it's a very exclusive bank that ostensibly has the most secure and safest vaults and safes and then like executive safes for the richest and most exclusive customers, ostensibly. So architecturally, we had a lot of bright lights, shiny black surfaces, concrete, glass. Everything's modern. A lot of rectangles, very shiny. So it looks very impressive. It looks very solid, right? It probably feels solid because it's concrete, right? So it looks these people look very competent, very rich, very serious. But then as you go further in, you find that it's just the same styling everywhere. There's no kind of depth to the architecture. It's just they say one thing and then they say the same thing through the entire building. There's no variations. All the offices are kind of the same. Even the CEO office is just kind of the same thing. You go down to the safes area and you find that that's the biggest, most open part, and then you go into the safes area and that's the most richly ornamented part. So they spent the most money on making it look good. Whether or not the security is good is a different issue, right? Yeah, and then you go down to the corporate vaults and there's like a very impressive looking security. And everything checks out until you climb into the vault and climb back out and you realize how thin the security around the back, right? And so it's all theatrics. It's all theatrics. It's made like the part that the clients go in, everything looks great, right? Everything looks serious, rich, competent, secure. And then you go out the back and you realize it's paper thin. And that's Palisade Bank. Okay, that's it for this one. And like it's okay, I guess it's funny. There's just not a lot of depth to it. There's not a lot of depth to the architecture. It looks really rich and shiny and fancy, but like there's not much depth. There's no story to tell in the architecture. Anyway, next up we're going to the Utelek, also known as Golem City. So that's gonna be interesting. We're gonna learn some things about architecture there, I think. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.